The next is clinical correlation. That is, intrinsic factor deficiency can cause vitamin B12 deficiency and a defect in RBC synthesis, which is called as pernicious anemia. And in turn, vitamin B12 deficiency can cause megaloblastic anemia, in which you have hypersegmented neutrophils. So, deficiency of IF can lead to pernicious anemia, and vitamin B12 deficiency can cause megaloblastic anemia. Now we are coming to the physiology part of the stomach. The stomach is mainly concerned with the gastric contents such as hydrochloric acid, mucus and pepsin. And the main function is storage of food, mixing of food and controlled emptying. As we have seen, cardiac portion, fundus portion, body portion, pylorus portion. Cardiac portion is the smallest portion of the stomach, and fundus is the superior to the esophageal junction. Fundus is present superior to esophageal junction. That is what I've told. The fundus is located within 3 centimeters of esophagus. So naturally it will be found superior to esophageal junction. And the body is called as the mixing tank. And the pylorus portion is actually the curved tubular portion of the J-shaped stomach. Now pylorus can be divided into pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal. The pyloric antrum is in the stomach region, it is the stomach portion, and the pyloric canal is related to the small intestine or the duodenum. The pyloric canal, it empties into the duodenum. Now you have pyloric sphincter in between this pyloric antrum and canal, that is, pyloric sphincter separates these portions. So pyloric sphincter is actually controlling the emptying of the gastric contents into the duodenum. From the pyloric sphincter actually controls the emptying of the food contents from the pyloric antrum into the pyloric canal. Now the first portion which we are going to discuss about the stomach is the motility. There is increased motility which is caused by parasympathetic, and there will be decreased motility which is innervated or which decreased by the decreased motility is due to the sympathetic innervation. Now parasympathetic innervation is mainly through two plexus, namely myenteric plexus and submucosal plexus. The myenteric plexus is found in the muscularis mucosa of the stomach, and submucosal plexus is found in the submucosa of the stomach, that is submucosa of the mucosal layer. Now you have a pacemaker located in the stomach. It is in the mid corpus of the greater curvature. Then the receptive relaxation is the next point. Receptive relaxation is mainly for the storage function, and it is mainly concerned principally of the fundus, and it allows the retention of the gastric contents without increasing the stomach wall tension. That is a relaxation in such a way that it is not distended to the maximum. That is what is meant by without increasing stomach wall tension. It is the normal relaxation. So that is called as the receptive relaxation, and it mainly allows the retention of the gastric contents. Okay, next is the chyme. Now, how the chyme is formed is the contraction of the stomach or the antrum will cause the formation of chyme. And the fourth topic is gastric emptying. The movement that is related to the gastric emptying is the peristaltic movement. So it is the peristaltic movement which favors the gastric emptying, and it is very important to note that the cholecystokinin inhibits the gastric emptying of the stomach contents. Now we come to the pathology of the stomach, the disease conditions associated with the stomach. Mainly we are going to see 5 topics: pyloric stenosis, acute gastritis, chronic gastritis, which can be a type A or type B, peptic ulcers, and tumors. Tumors, one which is related to Virchow node and the other Krukenberg tumor. And the pyloric stenosis is a congenital hypertrophy of the pyloric muscle. So it is present at birth and it has a hypertrophy. The pyloric muscle is hypertrophied. Hypertrophy means the muscle is growing. That is, the pyloric muscle is, the cell grows rapidly and there is an increase in size of the muscle. So what happens is the sphincter is closed and therefore the gastric contents is not able to be emptied into the duodenum. So it is, you can say it is a gastric outflow obstruction, and this will cause projectile vomiting in the infants. And when you palpate it, you can palpate an olive mass in the epigastric region. Okay, now you have to see about Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. It is often asked. Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is the disease condition where the gastrin level is increased and there is gastric acid hypersecretion. This can cause peptic ulcer. Now there is a diaphragmatic hernia. You should just remember that it is a hole in the diaphragm resulting in the herniation of the abdomen into the pleural cavity. Next is the acute gastritis, which is also called as erosive gastritis, and it is mainly caused due to the NSAIDs, alcohol or the aspirin intake. Chronic gastritis is also called as non-erosive gastritis. It can be fundal or antral. The fundal is the type A and antral is the type B. The fundal type of chronic gastritis is autoimmune in origin, which means antibodies are produced against the body cells. So here the autoimmune means the antibodies are produced against the parietal cells and against the intrinsic factor. So therefore it can cause pernicious anemia. And the antral type of gastritis is the most common, and it is related with the Helicobacter pylori. This can cause gastric or peptic ulcer, and the pain is epigastric in nature. Then next is pernicious anemia is associated with the atrophic gastritis, where the gastric epithelium is replaced by intestinal epithelium. So when the gastric epithelium is replaced means there is no parietal cells. They are replaced by the goblet cells, which is present in the intestine. So that is why we are saying that the gastric epithelium is replaced by intestinal epithelium. That is, the parietal cells are replaced by the goblet cells. Therefore, intrinsic factor is not produced, and therefore there will be vitamin B12 deficiency, and therefore pernicious anemia can occur.